Hey guys, Darren here. Welcome to Mayhem Country Living. Hope you guys are doing well wherever it is that you are. This is our Man Building Monday. I try to pull ideas and thoughts for a good video, something that's entertaining but makes you think. And so a lot of these things come from my personal experiences, my successes and my failures. And I hope it's entertaining, but I hope that you learn a little bit from it as well. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Also, consider joining us on Patreon, because you get all kinds of cool stuff over there. I was about to turn 13 years old, and summer was almost there. School was getting ready to let out, and everybody was talking about going to the pool for the summer and going swimming, going to the lake. And my dad told me, he said, "Boy, I got you something. You're gonna love it." And all year long, I had been harassing my dad about buying me a go-kart. Yes, a go-kart. I've always loved those dang things. 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton Carter go-kart, just something you can zip around and ride around in, and just cause all kinds of mayhem, if you will. And it was like a week before school was out for the summer, and he said, "Boy, it's got a motor." And I said, "Oh God, it's got a motor." And then the next day he would say, "You're gonna love those wheels." And I was like, "Oh God, he got me a go-kart." And then he said, I have to get some gas to put in it. And the last day of school came, and I got home early, and Dad had a lawnmower sitting for me. Who didn't see that one? I didn't. It was a horrible thing. It was a terrible summer. And Dad said the lawnmower cost me $25. The gas can was $1, and the gas was $1. He said, "With interest, you owe me $30. Get out and cut grass." And that was my introduction to work. Yes, it was. Some of you are laughing. And he showed me how to cut grass, change the oil, do all the maintenance to it, and then he said something very profound. He said, "Boy," mind you, I was 13. He said, "Boy, you owe me $5 a day." He said, "If you don't make $5, you don't come home." And I said, "Yes, sir," because he'd beat me if I didn't. Yes, he physically whipped my ass. Yes. And I said, "Yes, sir." And he went with me 1 or 2 times to different people's houses, knocked on the door while he stood there, and introduced myself and asked them what they wanted the grass cut. And some of them wanted it, and some of them didn't. And he said, "You need to go to about 10 or 15 people every day, all through this great neighborhood." And I said, "How am I going to get around there?" He says, "You're going to push the lawnmower." And I said, "Well, what about my gas can?" He said, "Get a bicycle lock." And so I got a bicycle lock for my metal rectangular gas can. You guys know what I'm talking about. And that was what I did. And I learned so much. The first thing, I learned how to make $5 every day. And I gave my dad $5 every day for months and months, even after school started back in. And after Dad saw that I was making $5 consecutively, regularly, he said, "You owe me $10 now, boy." And that was 15. And then it was 20. I was 13 years old, mind you, and I was giving my dad $20 a day. Now, I did not know this, but Dad was taking that $20, putting it in the bank for my college. And I was out working, and then I learned life lessons from that. For example, I learned that the public library is free, and they have air conditioning and a water fountain. And I also learned, instead of making $20 a day, make $40 a day, and then I had a day I could goof off and give my dad $20 one day and $20 another day. And I could go hang out at the public library all day long for free, sit in the air conditioning, read books, which was one of my favorite things, and all the cold water I could drink for free. I also weaseled my way into the hearts of the old ladies whose grass I cut so they would feed me lunch. That is what I did up until I got a job at a grocery store, up until I was 17. And mind you, this was back in the days of Reaganomics. Interest rates were like 20+%. Most adult men weren't making $40 a day, and I was making it cutting 2-3 yards every day. I had about 60 or 70 yards I would cut. Sometimes when I didn't want to do it, I would pay my friends to cut the grass, subcontracting it out. I learned so much. I would go on job sites. Dad would go with me the first time or two that I went to do this, and he would say to the foreman, "My son wants to work for you." And the man would look at him and laugh, and he'd say, "What does he do?" He says, "He'll do whatever you want." And he said, "Well, what do we pay him?" He says, "You pay him what he's worth." And he said, "Boy, it'll work." And so I would throw stuff in the dumpsters and haul stuff, and I would, whatever they wanted, drinks of water. There wasn't bottles of water back then. There was, you wanted, a cup of water, take you a cup of water, fill up your pouch with nails, whatever it was, carry shingles. And then I started making lunches for those guys. This is what I did when I was 13, 14, and 15. And Dad really instilled a lot of that into me. Later on, when Dad and Mom moved further out into the country where they live now, they ran on kind of hard times. And so my father, in his 60s, did the same thing I did. I can't begrudge a man who would order me around and then do the same things that he made me do. So my father in his 60s did small engine work, cut grass, fixed lunches for people, and made a good bit of money, cash money, quiet money, that took care of his family. At the time, I hated it. I absolutely hated it because Dad would get up and have to be at work at 8, so he would leave at 7. And so I couldn't go back into the house until he got home from work. And that was just the way it was. And some of you are saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe they did this to you." It's just the way it was. It's what they did. So Dad left for work at, say, 7 o'clock. I couldn't go back into the house until he got home that evening. And so I was out somewhere doing something productive or learning about life. And that is one of the things that made me what I am. Now, I know from this, I can do anything. I have ruined more fortunes than most people have the opportunity to make in their life. But if you know how to work, and you know how to work a system, it will be okay. Hope this was interesting to you. And yes, you could actually call my dad and he will agree. He will tell you everything. And remember, in the previous stories I mentioned to you, Dad was an Army drill instructor that ended up retiring out, doing being a DI, National Guard, I want to say, Wylam, Alabama. That was something. But appreciate you guys coming by, hanging out. And would I do this with my children? Absolutely. Do it all day long. Grandchildren? Yep. You got to be a little careful dropping them off on people's doorsteps, asking them to cut grass. But you can build a network, or have them build a network.